All right, guys, welcome back to Dads Against the Narrative, the show where we cut through all the noise, challenge the status quo, and talk real talk about life, family, and the world all around us. My name's Jack Nofel, coming straight out of Mexico, as Nate normally would say, and I'm here today with my homie Nate Feathers out of Tennessee. And we have a special show for you guys and a lot of updates from just our lives of what's been going on. And then, of course, we're going to attack the narrative as we always do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the show. It's the only way we grow. Let's get after it. All right, Nate. So the world's kind of crazy right now, and we've been also a little bit crazy. Nate and I
Yeah.
have created all kinds of products for you guys. We'll talk about that later in the show. But right now, I'd like to talk about the United States, the way it's looking. I keep seeing all these oil refineries just getting blown up, Nate. What's going on? And there's like four in India. This is all in May. Or no, all in
Mm.
April. My bad. In April,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
15 oil refineries that blew up. And you have the one in Texas. Now we just had another one in the United States. Guys, I live in Mexico, as I stated, and a lot of you know already. So I don't always keep up with the United States, but I just read an article on this. I was like, what? And then I saw my buddy post about it, and I was just, it's just weird. Remember when Trump said we were going to be not dependent on anyone? We were going to be oil efficient and we were going to have our own ways. And yet now he just came out yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say, um, and said we're going to make sure that the gas prices go down a little bit. We're going to take away gas tax. Did you see that? Oh
Dude, I was like
yeah,
I was
real.
like 18 cents. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was like 16 cents is what I
That's
saw.
like I was like, you know what? I saw it on Real AF and I was like and Andy was like he was like, dude, why don't you just take away taxes until you guys figure your shit out? And I'm like, yes, there you go. Like
That's it.
we don't need to pay taxes until a balanced budget is not only proposed but passed. They don't get paid. Like, I mean, seriously, how awesome would it be to be like, okay, I'll tell you what, you're a public servant, so you're gonna do that service for free until you figure your shit out because you're supposed to be there for us. I think they'd get it figured out real fucking fast.
Yeah, bro,
But
that's
18 cents, it was like a slap in the face, in my opinion.
slap in the face. And I haven't been able to keep up with Real AF in like 3 months. My system now that I created for myself doesn't allow me to watch or listen to podcasts, which is disappointing, but also I've been growing. As you guys know on Instagram, I've been pushing and recreating things. But yeah, that's insane, dude. When I saw that, I was just like, okay, so we're going to attack the oil refineries. We're going to take them all out. We're going to lift the prices. I mean, the only thing I could see here is that they're doing it to really put the foot on the neck of the average person. Like they want to put their foot on our necks and say, "You're not going to get out of this now. You are going to be ours." Like it just that's what it seems like. It just seems like a tactic because they're also at the same time still sending billions to Israel.
Dude,
Like what the
did you see
fuck?
did you see where Netanyahu was like, I think we should start talking about dialing that back. Like, like you guys give us $3.8 billion dollars and we should probably work over the next decade to have that not be the case. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're taking money other places. So I'm sure it's not just 3.8 billion. I'll take that, right? I'll be like, yeah, let's take that back. How about we not take a decade to do it though? How about we just be like, that's not our property, it's not our land, and those aren't our people. So figure it out. I would rather that.
Bro, it's wild. To me, the whole thing is just like the more you get into it, and then like I'm talking to guys like you or my buddy sending me stuff from Atlanta yesterday, and the sky is just loaded with checkers, and I'm like, dude, your guys' skies are way worse than Mexico. Like, yeah, I told you from like December to February it was nonstop here, but I live in a very liberal city that we're moving from because of that reason,
Mhm.
and we want to get back to the beach, of course. And we're going further south, away from the United States, because it just seems like things are crazy. You have the Lyme disease coming out, and all the ticks. You have chemtrails. You have the oil refineries. You have money still going billions there, and not a damn person has been held accountable for COVID, for raping children and eating children. Like what the fuck? And we're paying taxes then to them. I mean, I don't pay
Yeah.
taxes, but I mean, that's how my retirement works, though. I don't have to pay taxes.
That's what I was gonna ask. I'm like, wait, how do you like?
No, no,
And
no.
here's the thing: there's a way to do that, by the way, but I wasn't sure how that worked for you.
Yeah, no, it's and you know what's funny is because like a lot of guys who I've been talking to in the States, They're like, dude, fuck that. I'm done paying taxes. None of them filed. Like zero of my buddies filed for fucking taxes this year. And then a couple of my buddies who have their own business, like you, Nate, they did the whatever the loophole is, the workaround. They
Hmm.
did the actual paperwork, and they're like, I don't need to pay taxes ever again. I'm like, dude, whatever loop.
Hmm.
I forgot what the loophole. I've heard other pages I followed like
Yeah.
break it down on how to get out of taxes,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, why would we keep paying taxes to these people? And
Dude,
why aren't we mad enough? Why isn't there been like people are rising up still about like fucking them letting Syrians in and shit, like the borders, right? And
hmm
abortions and LGBTQ shit. But what the fuck? That the low hanging fruit you're gonna fall for, but you're not gonna go after the fucking people eating children, stealing children, grazing children, just like the fucking Cabbage Patch Kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
I think
doesn't
that
bother you. That's so strange.
well, I think that's why there's got, I mean, there's a few things I've got going on here. And it's fun because I actually talked with my wife and she is like, that's the biggest thing here for me is that she is definitely not as skeptical as I am. She's like, still like, I'm holding out hope. So I've like lost hope where I'm just angry and hateful, but, to some level, but she's like, no, I'm not gonna lose hope just yet because she's like, this is so pervasive and so deep that if you are building cases and trying to do something, like let's just give the benefit of the doubt, even though it's hard to do so. If you were trying as Trump, if you were Trump and trying to like build the case against people like this, it's so pervasive, it's so deep, and it's so spread out into everything, it would need to be airtight. And so she keeps coming back saying if they're building something against them, it has to be perfect. It has to be. And I'm like, well, yeah, well, they're going to need to drop a hammer soon. But I think that if you were trying to keep people from like revolting and all that, then yeah, you need to raise the prices of gas, which would raise the price of food. You need to keep, like you said, keep your foot on their necks because I think people are pissed. I think they really are angry, but they still have to figure out how to feed their children. And I think that's where the problem really lies is that if you can create enough stress and enough pain and enough financial stress that people are so worried about losing their house or losing whatever else. And I don't know if they're like me. I used to like drive when I was selling roofs and feel like I wasn't doing well. And I would see in my head, I would see my kids like starving and begging on the streets. And I'd be like, no, like if you can keep people there, then even if they want to revolt, I mean, until they're actually starving, like people may actually end up losing children because they can't eat. And that's when you'll start to see more like riots or things like that. But I think that's where it's at. Is I really do think people are pissed, but they keep raising prices so hard. I mean, the prices have skyrocketed, specifically on oil. I mean, again, I think we were talking about this the other day, but where I live in the Midwest and now in the Southeast, I've never seen prices hit $4 a gallon. I know it's not California. Californians have seen that all over and over again, but I've never seen $4 a gallon where I live ever. And now it's like 430 or 429, 419. It's been teeter-tottering from 409 to 439 all over the place. And I'm like, this is insane. And what I hate the most is that's going to condition us because you and I are talking about it. We're like, man, I remember when I went to college or when I went on spring break. I remember going on spring break filling up for 89 cents. You said the other day you remembered it being like 49 cents at one point.
49 cents is the lowest I ever paid. I was about 17 years old, so that has to be 1998.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I was in Ohio then. So it probably was that. I remember my parents would give me a $20 bill and I would get change from filling
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah, it was
And I
less
just
than
kept the change up in the visor. But like that is like I remember looking back at that and I told my kids, I'm like, my parents remembered it being like 5 cents a gallon, right? Or some crazy number low that we're like, it's still that same jump, but it conditions us from 2000, we've been conditioned to pay well over a dollar. And so now it's just another conditioning that I think that's what pisses me off.
I
Is
mean, they
that's
move
the
it
stuff.
inch by inch, right? Or centimeter
Hmm.
by centimeter. They just keep pushing, and then they bring out another hantavirus or any of this other shit. And the funny part is, we'll talk about
Yeah.
hantavirus in a second and
Yeah. Yeah.
the haunted virus. Anyways, oil here is like, and this is the thing, guys. I wasn't really. paying attention to gas really because I've been paying attention to it in Mexico,
Right.
and it hasn't changed. It actually went down. We're paying right around $2.70 per gallon
Mm.
is what it kind of
Mhm.
almost comes out to. Maybe $3 for some spots, but it's like Mexico. Like if you go any higher, most people are going to stop driving. You're going to watch the economy change. Maybe
Yeah.
in Mexico City. All right, I don't live in Mexico City. I don't live near Mexico City. That's a whole different ball game. That's like San
Right.
Francisco and shit. Like Mexico City's giant and it's
Yeah.
full of gays and full of liberals, is what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
so it's like they do things that the rest of the country does not do. And where I live, it's not like that. And I drove all the way to where was it? Guadalajara, and the prices were still the exact same. So it's not affecting me until the other day when someone in my community was like, "Hey, dude, Columbus, Ohio, we just hit $4.50 a gallon." I'm like, "Columbus in Ohio, where I grew up? Nah, dude, it's the Midwest. The Midwest is cheapest." He's like, "Dude, $4.50." And then he got on a call with me to figure out how to move his whole family to Mexico. He's like, "Dude, we're done. We're done." He's, I mean, he makes great money too. It's just he just is like, "I'm done, man. We're gonna keep getting attacked. I don't want my kids to grow up near this shit. I don't want them to see this." And then he's like, "Jack, I watch you," and it's like your kids don't have to even pay attention to that. Like I barely spend gas because also in Mexico we have great public transportation.
Mm.
Great public transportation. You could jump on Colectivo for 5 pesos a person, and it takes you almost anywhere. So it's like, or the railroad system. It's like, I know it's a third world country and we live in mud huts and shit, but you know, it's the infrastructure is made for public transportation and for people to go around cheap. So it's just something that the United States, and this is the thing. Before me and Nate were talking, we were just talking about how some people think these plans need to be airtight from the beginning. And a lot of people come at me even when I talk conspiracies, and they'll say, "Oh, that would be way too deep, Jack. Think about the lies NASA would have to do." They are doing it. They've been doing it. It's just like when you think about who's been running shit, it's been thousands of years, not decades,
Right.
where it's been the little country in the Middle East, even though that didn't exist until, the early 20th century, actually mid 20th
Mid 20s.
century.
Yeah.
And it's those same people. That's the same people perpetrating the fraud. And it's the same people controlling the narrative. So if you have the same people, they can keep making up lie after lie after lie, and they can make it so deep that you can't uncover the whole thing, and you can never even fathom how deep it really goes. Because the further I go into the hole, I'm just like, no, no way, no way, again, further,
Yeah.
further, what? So it's like
Yeah.
we really don't know the truth of anything. It seems like, except for like, I love my family. I'm going to take care of my family. We're going to survive. We're going to live a life full of love, and we're going to prepare for a future that we don't know exists yet, because that's exactly what's coming. We have no idea what AI is going to do. We have no idea about. So I'm not going to set my kids up to go to college and get a piece of paper that puts them in $150,000 debt, $200,000 debt.
Yeah.
That way they're stuck in the system. That's the
Yeah.
most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. So it's like we need to start thinking outside the box. And outside the box is like way further than you guys think I think. It is way out there where it's just like, all right, I need to prepare what? Living like Little House on the Prairie? Okay, that makes more sense. All right, let's get back to growing our own food, building our
Right.
own buildings, really hands-on life skill work, because the more shit they just keep throwing at me, the more it's the only way I see going forward. Like I don't see another way, and I don't see the United States being a safe place for a long time. Like I think the next decade of the United States is going to definitely decline more and more, get more expensive to live there. And then they're selling you the freedom thing that just does not exist anymore because you're slave to taxes there. The taxes
Yep.
down in Mexico are not nearly as bad. And it's just crazy. And don't get me wrong, people down here are pissed about taxes too, but they're paying like 15%. In the United States,
Mm.
you guys are paying 60% of your fucking income, basically. I mean, when you add it all together. And yeah,
I think that's something to hit too, because people want to say, "Oh, I don't pay that much. I only pay 30%." Yeah, in your income tax. The government just gave an 18-cent gas tax, let alone whatever fees or sales tax. There's a state tax on that generally. Like there's tax on tax on tax. So it's not 30% of income tax. And I almost feel like that was a nice little psyop, right? oh, it's just income taxes. And then you don't pay attention to the other taxes that are being taken out. And now, if you look at how the banks work, like I was just looking, I just saw this in Mount Juliet. So the mayor of Mount Juliet got up yesterday and was like, "Hey, just because rising home values in Mount Juliet are like just because the home prices are going up or home values are going up doesn't mean that the taxes are going up." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Because last week I got a tax assessment that said my house was now valued $126,000 higher than it was the year before. I'm like, your timing is total shit to come out and say that when all of your constituents, literally everyone in Mount Juliet, got the same thing I got, saying, "Oh, by the way, we reassessed your house and now it's worth this." And that doesn't mean that my percentage went up, but I mean, they just added $126,000 to the value of my house. So they're getting more taxes. I'm like, that's exactly what that means, you putz. It's crazy.
You'll own nothing. You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy about it. It's
Yeah.
like it's the World Economic Forum all over, and everyone's. If you're not awake to this, Blackstreet, BlackRock, Vanguard, they own all the houses. Bill Gates, even his own foundation, owns half the damn houses, and then they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They'll buy them 100,000 plus overpriced because
They
right
can.
now the whole thing is you're not going to own anything. And then how are we going to get the people who are already own the houses? Jack up property tax, jack it up. I mean, my sister lives in Cleveland, Ohio, and she pays like 25,000 at the end of the year on property tax. You don't own your house. You
Right.
don't own your fucking house if you're paying property tax every year. That makes zero sense to me. That like,
Yeah.
and she doesn't live like in a huge house. Her house is smaller than my house in Mexico. Much
Yep.
smaller, actually. Much
Yep.
smaller. It's half the size of my house.
Dude, it's crazy. And the thing there is that people are like, "Oh, well, the property taxes go for the schools." Yeah, well, we all know how that's going. But the side of that is, okay, well, there's plenty of houses bought and sold every year, everywhere. So sales tax is fine. You sell the house, there's a like somebody buys it, like I buy something at the store, I pay sales tax on it. Doesn't matter if it's clothes or food, whatever. Some places don't have tax on food, but in Tennessee, you pay 9.75% sales tax. Like that's what you pay across the board, right? It's crazy. But if you're buying a house, let's just call it 10% because it's practically there, right? So you buy a $400,000 house, you're paying $40,000 in taxes. I shouldn't be paying that again over and over and over again. Like it's not something I should be paying over and over again. And I know what they do. They go, "Oh, well, you don't pay sales tax on the day that you buy the house. That's what property taxes are for. So if you pay the mortgage for 30 years or whatever, you're paying the property taxes." And I don't know how everybody else's works, but my property taxes are paid through the mortgage, which makes it even less like, I don't want to say less painful. It just makes it less noticeable, right? You just paying your mortgage. I'm just paying for my house. No, you fucking aren't. You're paying mortgage insurance if you got a loan that was, if you own less than 20% of the house in the financial side of it, they put mortgage insurance on you and you pay for that. And then you pay taxes every year. You pay property taxes. It's like it's this ongoing snowball of tax upon tax upon tax. To where you're right, man. In the United States, we pay 70% tax. And if you are middle class, if you want to call it that, or lower middle class to middle class, you're paying you get paid too much to like be on the government dole. Not that people want that, but to get stuff from the government, but you don't pay it, but you don't get paid enough to actually survive. And it's just you're just getting dragged down into, I don't want to say lower class, but you drag down into poverty.
Bro,
It's crazy.
this is why the Constitution and all kinds of things talk about usury being illegal. But who owns all the banks? Again, that same country in the Middle East. In usury, that's what got them kicked out of almost every fucking country because they were charging people interest rates. That's illegal almost everywhere. I just asked Claude, I said, what's usury? And of course, I know what it is, but I want to see what AI is now saying it is. Usury is the practice of lending money at an unreasonably high or excessive interest rate. That's not what it is. Oh, here we go. Here, historically, the term meant charging any interest on loans, which was condemned by many religions as
Mm-hmm.
immoral. Over
Mm-hmm.
time, the definition shifted. Today, it refers specifically to excessive or illegal interest rates. See, again, every fucking definition just keeps getting twisted a little bit, just like when vaccines, remember during COVID, they changed the definition of vaccine so that way the mRNA fit right into what a vaccine
Mm-hmm.
would be. But no one was
Mm-hmm.
paying attention. And then when you tell them, they're like, you're fucking nuts. Just like people who like J6 was the worst fucking attack on American soil ever. What? Was
Yeah.
it?
What?
It was a
Yeah.
set up staged event. Just like fucking Trump being shot at, just like Charlie Kirk. Unfortunately, all of these are starting to look more and more like they're all staged. And then you don't talk about the things that are not staged, like JD Vance getting shot at this week or last week. Like
Yeah.
nobody
Nobody
talks
nobody
about
talks
that
about it.
because yeah, and I saw that one on a Real AF clips on a reel. So
Yeah.
that's even where I learned that I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah. Well, nobody's talking about it. Like I
Um,
didn't know about it until then either, but nobody's talking about it at all.
yeah. So I saw their clip and I was just like, holy shit, that happened?
Yeah,
And of
that one's
course,
real.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's psyop and fake, they're gonna push and push and publicize over and over. And
Yeah.
and we don't
Well,
have
and like you just said, if you can change the definition just enough, right? Like you just looked up on Claude. So here's the deal. A lot of people use AI just like they would Google. So they just like, hey, tell me this. Or they look it up. And so if someone does that and that's the answer they get, they're not reading everything Claude gives them. Because I guarantee you got like a whole list of stuff that
yeah,
Claude
yeah.
just pumped out. The top paragraph is the one they're gonna read and be like, oh, it's when people charge exorbitantly high. Like 28% on my credit card. That's usury. No, usury was any kind of loan with interest. And that's what usury is. People want to say that's predatory lending is what that is at 28% or whatever the hell it is up
It's
this point.
wild. I mean, and that's why like it's funny because everyone knows I make a lot of videos on World War II. I'm a history major, and I wrote many papers against Hitler in World War II in the exact way that we were modeled to believe it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
started reading shit, and I read like Mein Kampf, and you're like, dude, I'm siding with this dude every time. Then I heard some speeches that people were translating. I'm like, fuck, and I know German pretty well, so I could understand half of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, I was like, let me do some research. And I started researching, and I'm like, oh, 5 years prior to World War II starting, he kicked out a Rothschild because of usury. Because of usury, and because the Weimar Republic just was fucking debauchery at the highest level, looking kind of like the United States when Biden was in control, kind of a still
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. But it's literally, he's like, this is not how humans live. This is how my people are going to be treated. And they kicked out Rothschild. Well, we know the Rothschilds own Israel, right? They were asked to be the first president, actually, and he
Mm-hmm.
declined. So,
Yeah,
what?
he wanted to work in the background.
Yeah. So then they can't get usury from Germany. So what do? It says Judeo declares war on Germany. And it's funny because if you go into like any search, go into your phone and type in Judeo, first thing that pops up is Judeo Christian on my phone at
Mm-hmm.
least. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
And those aren't tied together. Why are those fucking tied together? Like, isn't this weird, guys? Why does AI tie that together? Because I'll
Well,
tell you
they've been tied together for years because they say Judeo-Christian because apparently it's supposed to be the same God. So Christians would say, "Oh yeah, it's the God of the Jews that we serve, but Jesus is the Messiah." Like that's where the difference is, but that Jesus is the Messiah is a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big differentiator, right?
it's a
Like
huge one. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like the major. And so that's why they say that because they would say that like when you read the Bible, the Old Testament, I've quit calling it that, but the Old Testament is the Hebrew scriptures. So you get the Torah and the prophets. You get that in the Old Testament, and then the New Testament is the story, like the history of Jesus, the history of the church, and the letters that the apostles at the time wrote. So you just, I mean, it's a continuation. That's why you get that, dude. My whole life, and I mean, I know yours too. But growing up, Judeo-Christian values, Judeo-Christian values. That's all I ever heard was that. It was always put together because, well, because they wanted us to feel like, oh, we're the same.
And
We're
then when you
not.
start adding dual citizens into Washington, D.C., it's just Judeo Christian. We're together anyways. We're already together. We're a team, Judeo Christian. Are
Yeah.
you guys seeing this yet? Are you seeing the connection? Kind of like Earth. I know me and Nate did a whole show on flat Earth, and we both came to the conclusion of maybe we don't fucking know. And that
Yeah.
was it. And it's okay to say I don't know. But the thing is, what did we say in that show? Globes are in every fucking classroom. Right from the beginning, kids' nurseries are in space.
Mm-hmm.
Same with dinosaurs. And
Yep.
dinosaurs, like, there's more evidence that dinosaurs didn't exist. They didn't exist all the way until 1842, some will say 1862, when the Bone War started. And that went
Mm-hmm.
for 20 years, and they found 160 fucking dinosaurs. Get out of here. It was two British men. Okay, so England has them all. Get out of here. You know what I mean? It's like, so, and then if they push that to your kids, and then you continue making children's shows about it, and it's in school, and
Yep.
it's not hard to fake the funk. It's easy,
Oh,
actually. Matter of
dude.
fact, you are doing it for them. You're doing all the work for them. Same thing with usury, as we're going to tie this back around, is that, like Nate said, your mortgage, you don't even fucking know you're paying it. And then you pay property tax, and you just keep paying and paying and
Mhm,
paying.
mhm.
And the taxes are so out of control. I mean, our founding fathers would have a revolution 100 years ago on this shit.
Dude, I had a some guy messaged me on Instagram. It was about I made a post about Denmark banning cried out method, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I totally disagree with the cried out method, right? Like I totally disagree, but I can't have a government saying that you're not allowed to do stuff. Like what? How are they gonna? How are they gonna? And I even said it. I'm like, how do they get? What are they gonna do? Like monitor you in your home? Oh, now we need to have cameras in your house so we can see you and make sure you don't let your child cry it out. I was like, this is insane to even say that. But the issue I had, this guy reaches out to me and he's like, your distaste for your government, and like he was just going on and on and on. I'm like, so are you telling me you want more of your government wherever you're at in your business? And he's like, well, I'm in the UK and they've done this and they've done that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I was like, this is not a distaste for government. It's a full distrust. I'm like, if you look at governments over the centuries, not just the United States, look at governments over the centuries. The moment they get power of any kind, you never get it back. The people are always the ones that take the hit. And that's not the way it's supposed to be, but that's what's happened. And I said, I'm pretty sure the founding fathers of this nation were pretty pissed off about some taxes from somebody over the pond that you might know. And I was like, I'm pretty sure 1776 was one where they were not so cool with what your government was doing. And I'm like, but but it was over a 2% tax.
2%.
2%. Dude, are you like that's insane. Like you have to think about that. 2% tax, even if you'd go all the way back to the amount that they were making in that time, it's still a percentage. So think about how much money they take from us now. Let's just call it 50%. So you make 100 grand a year, and the United States government, in all of its ways, takes $50,000 from you. If you just had the T tax or whatever it was from back then, they'd take 2,000. You'd keep 98, and you'd give them two. And they were pissed enough to start firing shots and secede from England. And now it's like, and my thing is this: I looked at Zeke the other day, my 22-year-old, and I was like, the men who started this country were your age, not my age. I mean, they wore those white wigs, right? And so I look at them. I've always thought George Washington was ancient. I was like, that dude was old when he started. Like, no, this dude was the oldest one, but I think he might have been in his 30s. And he was like the grandpa basically, because these guys were 18. I think Aaron Burr was 20 or 21. I'm like, dude, these guys were so young, and they're writing things like the Declaration of Independence, which most 20-year-olds now, if they read it, would be like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? Like they can't even understand and fathom the way these men talked, the way they acted, and they were literally my kids' age. That's insane.
This is why I'm sure you always see my social media. I keep talking about Dangerous Men this week. This whole fucking week I've been on it, dude. I just keep talking about like, dude, why are we raising our sons to be weak little bitches?
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Like I see it here in Mexico too. The kids are full of fucking seed oils. They're eating candy nonstop. There's no fucking direction, no purpose, nothing that parents are doing. Parents are just trying to survive, as you said stated earlier. But that doesn't mean you just give your kids anything. My kid will fucking fast before he gets candy, and I proved that at 4 years old. Now he's 6 plus. I was in Cleveland, Ohio, and we were going to a funeral. We woke up from a nap, and my entire family has McDonald's on table. We don't fucking eat
Oh,
fast food in my house. And
oh.
he's like, can I have fries? I'm like, no. And then my sisters are just like, oh, he can have fries. Just let him have fries. No, that's my fucking morals and values. You're putting my integrity on the line. My kid doesn't eat that. Facts. No matter what. We will fast. He's going to learn to fast today at 4 years old. Congratulations, dude, because this is how it was in the old days. Yeah, your stomach's going to hurt, dude, but you can push through that struggle instead of having seed oils injected into your fucking body and saying that that's okay because we're hungry. That's not
Well, and
okay.
the truth is that they would eat that. He would have eaten it and been hungry 5 minutes later, anyways, because it's total shit. And it doesn't like his body's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. He'd probably shit it out and be done. I mean, he'd be hungry inside of 5 minutes. That's when you eat Asian food in the United States. Like you go get a big, like they give you portions like this, and you're hungry a half hour later because like there's nothing to it.
Dude,
So insane.
it's so wild. It's just like it blew my mind that they thought that that's okay and reasonable. That was the one of the last times I went back to Cleveland because I'm just like, I'm sorry, I have to disconnect right now. I have to
Mm,
disconnect. We don't have same values and morals. You guys obviously stayed in the system, stayed saying that that's okay. I didn't. And me and my wife continuously push ourselves to the next level. What is the next level? All right, we can have seed oils like once or twice a week. All right, that means we can eat tacos here in Mexico because most of the time they're using seed oils.
mhm.
And then what we do is we pray over it, saying that our bodies are healthy and strong. Thank you, God, for processing it fast and not harming our bodies.
Mm.
Quick little prayer, guys. There you go. Write it down because it's fucking quick and easy. But if you don't believe in the power of prayer, or even well, you don't even fucking call it prayer. If you're upset with praying, all right, call it fucking meditating. Call it fucking a mantra over your food and your
Yeah,
body.
just gratitude.
Gratitude, yes,
Yeah,
something to your food because it's been proven over and over again because you guys love science.
yeah.
Fucking when you talk to your water and you put good thoughts into your water, the actual molecules fucking change. What do you think happens in food? Same thing.
Have
So
you seen that? Have you seen that with the rice? Like they get like you take three things of rice. Do it, like anybody want to try this? Do this. Like especially with your kids to understand this, especially with how you talk to your children. And I know every time it comes back to fatherhood, like we can't help it, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But that's who we are, and it's like it's one of the deepest things about both Jack and I. But if you take rice and you make rice, and then you have one in one jar, and that's like the jar that you say good things to, say good things to. One you don't talk to at all, and the other one you talk shit to. And what will happen is the jar that has the good things said to it lasts so long. The jar that you say horrible things to, it's like, and the middle jar is for you to be able to tell how it goes. The jar that you say horrible things to and bad things about and like talk shit to it, it molds like super fast. It's crazy. Jack is totally on something right there that is massive. How you speak, like, and this is not just to rice, but water molecules, how you speak and like the things you say. The reason we call it spelling is because you're basically speaking out your spells. You're casting out spells. And I know that sounds crazy coming from a guy who used to be a pastor, but it's a thing. Like the Bible says it, life and death are in the tongue. And that means how you speak is what comes into this world. So you're absolutely right. Saying a thing of gratitude is massive over your food. Do you know who Sadhguru is?
no.
Sadhguru is I mean he's a Indian guy who talks about lots of things like this, and one of the things he's talked about is just giving yourself the ability to pause in front of food and speak gratitude changes how your body accepts the food, and that's proven too. It's insane.
I follow him now. I do know who he is. I just
You do? Yeah. Yeah. I love his stuff. He's got such good things to say. He's so wise. But
you know the saying is like where your energy goes, energy flows.
mhm.
So if
Yeah.
you're saying negative shit, negative energy is going into it. It's the same thing of like why I became a vegan for 2 years. Not that I don't.
We're so much alike, bro.
I thought like, all right, the way they're treating the animals is so fucking wrong that I
Yep.
can eat it. But when I came out of being a vegan, I was more conscious and intentional with my food.
Mhm.
So then we
Mhm.
bought grass-fed beefs or beef right from a farm. We started
Mhm.
drinking raw milk. We started getting eggs from a farm. And it's like, okay, you know what? They're treated nicely and loving, even when they slaughter them. And then
Mhm.
guess what? You're eating that good energy instead of
Mhm.
something that's harmful, disgusting, because cows are mammals, right? And the cows are going to carry that fucking energy with them. And
Mhm.
yet we still have people going to McDonald's eating human flesh. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
dude, we need to start becoming more conscious. And I think that's really where it's the disconnect happened. Slowly over time, they have made people unconscious. They're living unconsciously and unintentionally. So like every habit during the day is just formed by something else that they were programmed with. The nine
Yeah.
to five is a programming, right?
Yep.
Waking up your kids to get them ready for school. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You're programming them for the rest of their fucking lives, bro.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
are like, well, why you homeschool? There's my number one reason right there.
Yeah.
So I can have slow mornings. My Sons come down naked as can be and give me some big old hugs. You know how kids are, man. I have a 6-year-old and 2-year-old in 2 days, and it's like these kids don't like clothes at all. They
No.
sleep till when they wake up. They
Hmm.
sleep till when they wake up. They go to sleep with the sun. They wake up with the sun. So they're usually up around 6 to 6:30. And yeah, people are like, "Oh, you get them ready for school easily." Then yeah, I could, but know what? I don't. What we do is they wake
Dude.
up, we meditate together or pray,
Hmm.
however you want to call it, do breath work. I don't want to get people offended, you know. I do actually. It doesn't bother me at
I was
all.
gonna say whatever, dude. You totally
And
want to offend people.
and then we go and work out together. I tell them what I journaled about. And then normally I like walk the dog or whatever. And then we just start playing because kids
Hmm.
like to wake up and play and they're imaginative. And it's like my son then tells me, he told me a story about Pokemon today when he woke up. You want to hear my dreams? Once upon a time. And then it's like the next hour, he's still talking like, dude, this fucking dream needs to stop because I know it's not a dream anymore. You just, because their brains are on high alert in the morning.
Oh
Instead,
yeah.
so if you take that kid, force them to eat, force them to eat on a ritual. Again, that's programming, and then you force them into the car, force them to have their bags, force them into a school system, any school system. And I know Nate hates when I talk. He's like, "Are you talking to me right now?"
Oh, it's so funny.
And then so it's all programming, little step by little step. The alarm,
Mhm.
the hurry up and go, the hurry up and not think, the hurry up and no flow. There's no flow
Mhm.
state, right? So we're taking
Yep.
creativity away right in the morning when the kids have the highest creativity.
Mhm.
Instead, what you should do is wake up with your kids, slowly get them prepared, throw some clothes on their the naked little bodies, walk outside, thank God for the sun, thank God for the day, thank God for your health. And if you don't like God, use whatever you want. But we can have that
We know
argument.
it's God.
It's God, 100%
We
God.
know it's 100% God. It's fine.
Something more powerful. The same thing. I mean, that's what the space model is. It shrinks out and shows you you're this small. Does it really matter? Just go
Hmm.
9 to 5. Go work for your boss. It's not that big of a deal. And it's like it makes you small and not godlike. But on
Hmm.
like sphere, flat Earth is what people will call it model. You are the power. You are the source connected to God. I like that much better. So that's why I teach my son that because I want him to understand how we are connected to God, how Christ consciousness works in unity, and you want to be by those kinds of people with the
Hmm.
same morals, same values, and same beliefs. Because that, guess what? You could raise an entire vibration of an entire town to a whole different level just by people all being similar of like Christ consciousness and God
Yep.
believing and doing things on God's time, not
Yep.
on factory time. And that's what school
And
is. School is factory time.
dude, that's absolutely true. It's so crazy to me. Like I go back and forth on it. And it's so funny because my 10-year-old the other day was like, I think I want to homeschool all the time. And I was like, really? Okay, let's talk. And we've talked about finding bigger land and being able to just be out there. And if we do that where we've looked, they're not going to that school. And if they're not going to that school, they're not going to any like they're not going to school at that point. They'll just be homeschooled. But he said that and I was like, all right, that's cool. I love that. But it's one of those things where I've said this for years, including way prior to 2020 when we had COVID. But I'm like, nobody today is prepped for this world because of school. I mean, when you look back and you see how school was created, and you're like, oh, these bells. Well, I worked in a factory, and guess what? They got bells. They got break time, and they'll like hit a whistle or whatever. And that's when everybody goes to the bathroom, and that's when everybody goes to eat lunch. And then they got another whistle, and then everybody's supposed to be back at the assembly line and doing what they're supposed to do, and then it all starts and all the production starts and everybody just does their little drone thing. I mean, literally, it's the most mindless thing that you can do. You could go in there and just be completely mindless and not think about anything else at all. It's crazy. And then when you look at school and you go, oh, you got a bell that tells you when you got to be there. You got a bell when it tells you to go somewhere else. You got a bell tells you when you can go to the bathroom. But the simple fact of raising your hand to go to the bathroom pisses me off. I'm like, what is this about? Like if and I think I told you this before, but my daughter had this whole thing where she got this letter from or it was from her school and she was like, these are the classroom rules. It was her senior year. And I was like, I was reading it and it was like, yeah, you're only allowed to go to the bathroom. Like you're only gonna get like 3 passes to go to the bathroom during class for the whole semester. And I was like, okay, Amelia, this is fucking dumb. and I totally will not do this. So I scratched it out. I was supposed to sign it, and so was she. I scratched it out. I was like, I do not agree to this. This is ridiculous that you think that a child who needs to go to the bathroom cannot go. And I was like, and I was like, no, she will go when she needs to. And then I just looked at her and was like, don't abuse this. If you abuse this and you make me look stupid in front of your teacher, I'm gonna be pissed. And I'm like, but if she gets retarded and does this stuff, I'll go into the school and be like, my daughter goes to the bathroom when she wants. That's how it works. Because guess what? What do you want her to do? You want a senior in high school to sit there and pee your pants? That's fucking ridiculous. But
Bro,
anyways, yeah, it's
the
so
whole
much.
the
Oh,
whole system's fucking wild. I mean, and the funny part is like I make a lot of material on Natural Born Dad, my Instagram guys, about this. And it's funny because I'll get my buddies who are like talk to me all the time, be like, dude, I feel attacked. Well, sorry, you can. That's your opinion to feel attacked, you know?
yeah.
I'm not attacking you. You're feeling that because you're like, yeah, fuck this system, and I really want that, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Nate have talked about this more than anybody. So his kids are in private school. My kids are homeschooled, unschooled too. We don't take school and bring it home. My
Yeah.
kid, like the other day, I sent Nate a video, a text message of my son learning medical training, and he's like, "Dude, that's so fucking cool."
Yeah.
And guys, don't get me wrong, and fathers out there that are listening, I know you want this. I know you want to try to give it to them. I gave up $200,000 a year for this fucking style of living. That was the most important thing. When my wife, when we decided we wanted to procreate life together, we decided, all right, how are we going to school them? That was the very first question. It lasted about 30 seconds because I was like, I want to homeschool 100%. And this was when I lived in Hawaii in 2018. And so she was just like, me too. End of discussion. We'll make anything happen. And guess what? She got pregnant a year later. And then she quit her $85,000 job that she just became regional manager for. She was a BCBA working with children with autism. And she had nothing but climbing to do in the next year. She would probably be up to 150, 200,000 within a year. And we knew that. I was making about 110,000 at that time. And so we gave that up. It's gone. And then when COVID came and I refused the shot, I gave up my captain's pay, which I was around 130,000 at that time. And we got out and we lived off of 70,000. We could have been well over $200,000. Instead, we went to 70,000 and we figured it out. Was it hard? Fuck yeah, it was the hardest. My mental health was fucking horrible, and it was one of the most treacherous times of my life. Like I need to take care of these kids, but also I know this is our stopping ground. They are
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled, no matter how we look at it. And yeah, 4 years later, we figured it out, and we're in
Yeah.
Mexico for the last 2.5 years, and we couldn't afford to live in the United States. That's how we ended up moving, and then we
Dude.
saw writing on the wall, and we didn't
Yeah.
want all the shit the states was pushing, especially during the Biden era,
Yeah.
on our child. So we took
Yeah.
off, and that was the
Yeah.
only option.
That's the thing. And I've been talking more and more on Dads Don't Babysit about this concept of like fatherhood leadership, as well as I'm talking about co-sleeping. I'm talking about honestly, you're going to see a lot more about mama staying home. And I'm all for like if it's like dad staying home because mama does something, that's awesome. Like there's no hate there. I hate when I see guys that I don't know if you follow him or not, but I think it's Dad's Got Bars. He's
Yeah, I sent you his thing. Yeah,
he lives in Nashville somewhere. I don't know where he's at, but I know he's over this way. But he made one where a guy was like, "You're a stay-at-home dad." Like he's like, "I work 80 hours a week." Have you seen that rap?
yeah, yeah.
It was
It's
just
awesome.
like this week. I love it, right? I was so proud. I sent him. I was like, this is fire. I love it so much. But the guy was like totally shitting on a guy who's staying at home, not realizing the guy makes money doing rap. Like he's got like all the things. But here's the deal: if you're a stay-at-home dad, that's kick ass. I mean, Jack, you're pretty much a stay-at-home dad. That's what you are. You know what I mean? It's like and he still makes money. He still does his own thing. If you don't, and your wife makes money, that's cool. But we kind of go the more traditional route. I think I would go crazy if I just stayed home and didn't do all that. But we chose, like you're talking about, we chose for Meg to not work because we didn't want to toss our kids into the system of daycare and all that crap. And we didn't want to do that with her having like looking down the barrel of, oh, I got 6 weeks with my baby, and now and now I got to put him in daycare. I mean, we're literally we're 12 weeks out. We're 12 weeks out from number 7. I think that's the first time I've actually said that online. I said
Hey,
7 kids, but nobody's
hey,
caught that.
fucking family
Uh,
goals right there, bro.
but like we're 12 weeks out from kid number 7. And she could be working right now and then know that she's going to have maternal leave and then maternity leave and then know that 6 to 8 weeks later, 2 months, are you kidding me? You mean that kid was inside of her for 9 months and you think that inside of 8 weeks that baby's going to be like, oh yeah, I've got this, mom, we're fine. That's fucking insane. And
It's
so
insane.
we've made the
Insane.
decision, same as you. She doesn't work outside the house, and let's just be real, she's fucking working like way more than I do. She's working, but she doesn't work outside the house. And so we eat that shit in the United States because it's fucking hard to do that here. I mean, I think you made a great choice going to Mexico. I don't think I can get her to go there, but
Oh, it
she'd
was
probably go
definitely.
Europe.
I mean, the biggest thing with a call I had this week about someone wanting to move here is like, how's the safety? I've lived in 5 countries. This is the safest country I've ever lived in. And then I had someone yesterday who's a smart person, and she's like, "Oh, how was the whole thing after Mexico's like craziness?" I said, "There was no craziness. That was in the United States. That was your propaganda machine. Down here, it lasted right around 15 hours, and that was because you guys hyped the news up and social media hyped it up.
Uh-huh.
I even made a clip on it at that time. Like, no one gives a shit about this. No one gives
Yeah.
a
And it
at
was
all.
like what, one tiny little street block in Mexico City. It was like,
Mexico City. It's always Mexico City, dude.
yeah.
Mexico City's huge. If you guys don't know, it's like the fucking third biggest city in the world.
Mhm.
So yeah, dude, it's wild. And I think the trad wife is coming back. The trad wife is, I think, the millennial parents. Me and Nate are around the edge of the
Mhm.
zennials or whatever you call us,
Yeah.
ex millennials. But the millennials are changing it. And I think the millennial dads are showing up differently. They're more
Mhm.
conscious and intentional. I'm not saying all, but I
Yeah.
know lots of them who are not getting vaccines. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Don't get
Awesome.
vaccines. The vaccines are fucking harming everything in health.
For real.
Everything, all the problems that we're seeing start with the vaccine. Like
Yeah.
my friends got vaccinated their child, their newborn, and guess what? Within the fucking first like 4 months, the baby had some respiratory shit. Then they got the ventilator, and then they're like, oh, now the baby's coughing for the last 6 months. I'm like, dude, that's because you used the ventilator shit that they're spraying mRNA into the fucking thing. You guys can't trust these doctors anymore. It's all about money. That's all they care about. Incentivized for everything. Look at COVID.
Yep.
If that didn't wake you up to what doctors really are, and then it's funny, someone came on my post because I made a post just about this yesterday, how nurses have this virtuous fucking bullshit and they all fell for the entire system. And this guy's like, oh, you're just going to teach your kid to be a doctor at home? Yes, on the job training. That's how it fucking worked for thousands of years. Thousands of
Dude.
years is OJT, on the
Yeah.
job training. That's all they did forever. What are you talking about? I became a bricklayer, learned how to build an entire fucking house on the job. And guess what? There's a lot to building arches and twists and all these other fucking things, or hearths and fucking fireplaces. That's a lot of fucking information. And guess what? It took me 4 years of apprenticeship on the job. Same thing for welders. Same thing for people building your skyscraper. Same thing for people building anything. It's usually on
Well,
the job training. And you're telling me a doctor is different? No, it's an operating system that you learn. And it's not that hard. Now, if you're talking about surgeons, all right, if you're talking about the MVPs of the hospital, the only people that are fucking needed, the only people needed is urgent care. Those surgeons are amazing. I have a buddy, because I was a medical officer in the Army, guys. So I have a couple buddies who actually are surgeons, and ER surgeons, and they are fucking phenomenal with the way their brain works, the way they're able to suture with both hands. It's fucking phenomenal. But guess what? He literally, my buddy told me, he's like, I could teach you all this. And he was teaching me how to suture on a fucking doll. And he's like, just do that now 1,000 times with both hands. I'm like, he's like, that's all we do. It's repetitive,
I mean,
repetitive,
it's
repetitive.
all of life is reps. All of life is reps. I know my son probably gets annoyed with it. I know my wife does. I'm always like, well, it's just like the gym. And everything of life is the gym because that's where you learn reps. Oh, I failed here, so I'll keep doing reps. I failed this weight. It's the same thing. 1,000 times with each hand makes total sense to me. When you said he said that, I was like, yeah, I suppose it's just practice. And honestly, if you're in the field like this guy was, I'm assuming in the military, I mean, that's a pretty stressful situation if bullets are flying and you're having to figure that out like underneath all that. Yeah, add that level of stress. Of course, he's a fantastic emergency surgeon. That's badass. I love it.
Yeah, but family doctors, then I worked with family doctors as a meadow. I ran like NASH, MASH, If you guys remember the show
Yeah.
Nash, now they're called
I mean,
Mashes.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah. So now they're a cash. Actually, they switched again. So that kind of stuff. I have doctors all under me, and I'll listen to doctors, and they'd be like, "The medics are pieces of shit," but the medics are the ones who are doing the urgent care right on the front
Hmm.
lines. They're doing
Hmm.
TCCC, right, combat casualty care, right fucking there, not the doctor. And then the doctor would be like, "Oh, they're pieces of shit," and you talk down to these people because his fucking godplex. Because you went to school and memorized shit out of a book, but you
Yep.
didn't learn one fucking vaccine ingredient. Get the fuck out of here. You're telling
Yep.
me like you are better because what? And
Got
I'm
a
telling
piece
you,
of paper.
yeah, I'm
Got a
telling you,
degree.
you new fathers, upcoming fathers, you need to fucking ask the doctor when they're asking if you want the vaccines and shots. Say yes. You know what? I'll hold off right now unless you can tell me what's in the vaccine and how it's going to make my kid's body better. Every
Yep.
fucking ingredient from the formaldehyde to the fucking heavy metals that are in there. I
Yep.
want to know everything. How is that going to make my little baby's body operate better or brain operate better? There's no answer that they can give you that's fucking going to say it's better. Every
Yep.
answer is worse. The only way it's better is for their fucking checkbook.
Pocketbook. Yeah.
That's
You're
it,
absolutely
dude.
right.
That's it. So
Dude,
it's crazy.
totally agree. And the thing that I like, I feel like we need to throw this in. I thought about this the other day and it caught my attention. I saw it somewhere and then I was like, oh my God, this is another way in. Here's the deal. If you are if you are one of the people that's starting to work through peptides, you need to be very aware that Moderna and Pfizer and all of those are trying to get into that. And so all of the shit that they want to dump into vaccines, you're going to get by injecting yourself with peptides. So I'm not saying that that's what's going on, but I'm telling you, all the red flags started popping off. I've thought about it. My wife has considered it after pregnancies and after the pregnancy's over. And I've been like, yeah, 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 yeah. And now I'm like, hold up. That like hit the brakes so hard for me the moment I heard that Pfizer was looking into getting into the peptide space, I was like, that right there tells me that I'm gonna back out. Like I'll figure it out without it. Because if you're injecting yourself with anything that you're getting from a drug company, you need to be very aware of whatever is going in your body and everything that's in that thing. mRNA, whatever, because whatever they put in the vaccines that they want to put in you, I saw this thing it was like the off switch. You seen that? Like where all the mRNA and the 6G gives them the ability to have an off switch on the human genome where they can just shut you off. I'm like, probably won't be injecting anything ever again.
Remember, they rolled out 6G without everyone knowing. It just fucking came out one day, and everyone's like, "Oh." And
And now the hantavirus shows up. Weird, right? Now
antivirus, right?
everybody's getting sick. Oh, crazy.
The hantavirus that's been around forever is all of a sudden now a scare tactic. And the same guy who made a fucking video in 2020 is the same guy who's on the cruise ship. Dude, these are
So weird.
all
And he's the only guy that made a video. Are we serious?
they're all actors.
Thousands of people on a boat, and none of them shot a video except for this guy. Get
All
out of
acting,
here.
bro. It's all acting, and
Yeah.
they're trying to attack us. So, fathers out there, you need to stay vigilant and aware of your surroundings everywhere you go, especially if you live in the States and you have kids. Like, you have to. I hate to say that because it's
That's
like you have to live on the edge a little bit, but you have to right now, unless you
yeah.
can get the fuck out of the system all the way. And when I unplugged and moved to Mexico 2.5 years ago, dude, it was like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh.
That,
Of course, it took like the first year of like feeling it out, seeing what felt better. But by the age of 4.5, 5, my son was free to run in the campo, in the fields, run around anywhere at like the deportivas, the sports
sports
complexes.
game. Yeah.
And so like he was able to just do whatever he wanted. And people are like, you're not afraid? Because new Americans would come down on vacation, right? And I'm like, no, this is Mexico. This is not the United States. No one, everyone in this neighborhood watches out for each other.
That's
And,
awesome.
and Abuela is not going to let that shit happen. You guys
No,
are
she's not.
totally fucking not, dude. Like, it's a real family bond down here that like
Yeah.
they watch out for the children are first. Literally, that's why we have Children's Day in April, then Mother's Day, then Father's Day in June. It goes in
Interesting.
order.
Yeah.
Children are the most important here. In the
Yeah.
United States, there's no Children's Day because children are not important. Children
Absolutely
are
not.
just fucking for the feed, bro. It's literally like what
They're
get
annoyances. They're problems.
inoculate them,
Mhm.
get the fucking the pedophiles and all these motherfuckers are trying to get their blood and all of this so they can live forever, whatever the fuck that's all about. It's
Dude.
sickening. and it's so okay. Like you're telling me that you can control all this stuff on the internet, but you can't find the pedophiles, the people with it. No, they allow it to stay. They allow it to stay. The porn's allowed to stay. All of the shit is allowed to stay because they don't give a fuck. All
Right.
they care about is making money, controlling power. That's it. And then using your kids for the as much as they can as a consumer their whole lives. And what's the best way? Start them at birth. Start them
Yep.
with injected. Hopefully they get neurodivergent fucking ability, and that way they have to get on some kind of pill right away, and you keep them
Mhm.
in the system for their whole life, and then tell them that the pill is necessary. They have to
Yep.
have it. Although there's studies that show like cancer is beaten with ivermectin, epilepsy is beaten with fucking fasting and a keto diet. That's how the keto diet was created. Actually, it was for
Yep.
epilepsy. It's all natural things and natural remedies that are actually healing, and none of it has pharmaceuticals to do with it.
Yep. Peace
And with
nuts.
that being said, I know we're coming up on the hour, guys, gals, whoever is listening out there. Make sure you're following Dads Don't Babysit. Nate is back on Instagram, and it is great to see him making fucking content again. And his shit's on fire at the moment. And of course, I'm Natural Born Dad on Instagram, and I've been blowing up a little bit myself. But you have to come with an open mind to my page. I'll tell you that much. Same thing you need to be doing in reality. You
Yeah,
need to have
absolutely.
an open mind with your kids, with the future, what's going to happen, and start planning it. If you're having problems with that, me and Nate both have products that we are here to help you. That's literally our entire thing. You guys hear us talk about fatherhood, parenting, and now we are finally creating enough products that it's low end to high end. You guys,
Yep.
anyone, we're trying to help out at every level because that's what it really takes. So hit us up on our pages, DM us, whatever you need. We are here for you. But remember, stay vigilant out there because there's so much shit that's going on. They're trying to attack us every which way. Don't believe it. Keep your eyes focused on your family, on your future, and your health because that's really what matters at the moment.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys, for being here. Back to you, Nate, to close us out.
Yeah, I think don't, I mean, you said it all really. And the thing there is just when you realize that the only thing you can do is stay awake, get awake. And that means that you're going to get healthy. That means you're going to read, you're going to look at other things and see, be skeptical about things that are going on around you. Like when you do that and you wake up and you choose to do that, then you're able to say, I'm going to make decisions for myself and my family. And I guarantee you those decisions will go against the norm. You will literally be a dad against the narrative or a mom against the narrative. Like there's no way around that because the narrative and the flow of the river is to just take minions and to just shove you through like cattle. And the moment you wake up and you start making decisions for you and your family, you'll be that guy that's going against that grain. You're going against the narrative. So, like just like Jack said, stay vigilant, stay awake, and come out and make the decisions for your life and your family. It's the best you can do.
All
And
right,
with
guys,
that, gentlemen, we'll see you guys later.
take it easy. Don't forget to share the show. It's how we grow. Adios.